Welcome in on the eve of our winter storm system. Meteorologist John Birchfield here. We are streaming live on YouTube and on WTOL 11+. Thanks for joining us and taking a bit out of your Saturday evening to talk weather. We're going to be talking those amounts with a widespread 7 to 10 inches of snow and an all-day Sunday snow that is expected. So I got the YouTube video right over here. I'm going to be looking at your comments throughout the course of this live stream. I'd love to answer as many as possible. And I'm going to go over some common Q&A questions in just a couple minutes on this live stream. So whether you're tuning in on YouTube or on WTOL 11+, great to have you with us. We're going to be talking everything from snowfall amounts to timing, to lingering impacts that you're going to continue to feel throughout the day Monday and even into Tuesday morning as well. And again, you can find us on WTOL 11+, on YouTube, and any of our social media platforms. So let's get into some of the numbers and talk about this winter storm and just how rare it is. In fact, our biggest snowfall likely since February of 2022. So we're live here at 7:15 p.m. on this Saturday evening. And of course, you can always watch it after the fact as well. And I'd love to see as many of those questions coming in as possible. Winter storm warnings have been issued, and that includes now all of our Ohio counties. So that stretches from the Indiana state line all the way over towards the lake shore, and Toledo is now under a winter storm warning. Now, if you live up towards Hillsdale and Lenawee counties, you're in that purple shaded area. Those are winter weather advisories. So you may be wondering, well, why don't we have a winter storm warning? Well, generally it's about 6 inches plus of snowfall that meets that winter storm warning criteria. So the amounts in southern Michigan aren't going to be quite as impressive, but there's still going to be some slippery and treacherous travel throughout the course of the second half of the weekend. Boy, it's amazing how widespread these impacts are going to be felt. This is a vast coast-to-coast system. From Maine all the way down towards New Mexico, there are winter storm warnings that are in effect right now. And the sweet spot of this storm is going to go right through the Ohio River Valley, producing a swath of very, very heavy snow. And that sweet spot does include some of our counties just to the south and southeast of Toledo. So here's the storm that I'm watching right now. If you have radar on our free WTOL 11 weather app, you may be watching this at home as well. And if you don't have the weather app, well, scan that QR code at the side of your screen. You can get it in the Android store or the Apple store as well on your tablet or your phone. So this low pressure system is pulling in a lot of Gulf moisture from the Pacific even, and it is going to collide with an Arctic air mass. And that combination is going to produce a stripe of very heavy snow and wintry mix further to the south. In fact, you can see parts of Tennessee are getting a little bit of an icy mess this evening. Snow is starting to roll into the Ohio Valley, but I do think we're going to stay dry at least for a couple more hours. Some of those darker blue colors from Columbus back towards Indy, that shows you where the snow is really beginning in earnest, but I don't think the snow is going to pick up for the metro until after midnight. So if you have plans this evening, no need to cancel. Road conditions are likely to be dry. I'm going to check a few of your YouTube comments. We have a lot of comments coming in, so I'm going to pick a few of them to answer. And of course, if you have any questions about the weather, would love to get to those as well. So we have a question about Gibsonburg. I'm going to show the snow map coming up in, let's just say, about a minute to a minute and a half. Hello from Sandusky County, Ryan. Good to have you with us on this Saturday evening. Good to have a viewer from Waterville as well. Duroc06, thanks for tuning in from Waterville on this evening. I think Timmy Joseph's excited for snow. There's a couple exclamation marks in there, so I'm glad you're excited for the snow, Timmy. You're welcome, Ashley. Very happy to keep you updated. Appreciate that nice word. Let's see a few more of your comments. Glad your sons are watching. Keldon and Grayson, give you a little shout out there. Hello from Sylvania. Good to have you with us. I'm also a lifelong Sylvania resident, so thanks for tuning in. And how much snow we should expect. Kayla, I'm going to get to that in just a little bit. So lots of questions coming in about snowfall amounts. I say we cut to the chase and get to the timing and that snow map as well. So a couple more hours of likely dry conditions. We're going to start to see snow moving in shortly after midnight, especially south of Toledo. So if you are out late tonight, folks from BG down towards Findlay, right along I-75, could start to see some light to moderate snow. It's really going to start to pick up after midnight, and Sunday morning when you wake up tomorrow, it is going to be snowing heavily. We've already gotten a ton of cancellations in as far as churches and worship services go. Sunday morning, I would recommend just staying off the roads if possible. Roads are going to start to deteriorate quickly, and it's going to be essentially an all-day snowmaker. Even through the afternoon, heavy snow is going to be expected. We got the clock there at 3 o'clock p.m. I know a lot of those area sledding hills are going to be busy, with some kids hopefully enjoying this snowy Sunday, and the snow's finally going to be wrapping up by about 7 o'clock p.m. So I think that window from about 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., we'll call it about a 12-hour window of snowfall when it is really going to be coming down. All right, we've gotten a lot of questions about snowfall amounts, so let's jump into that snowfall map. So what's new with this one? Well, meteorologist Davis Wells picked up on some of the latest model trends this morning, and we really have not changed the forecast at all today, with a widespread swath of 7 to 10 for the Toledo metro. Now, compared to the data yesterday, the model runs today have come in with just a little more moisture and a little bit higher snowfall totals, and that is a trend that has really been consistent over the last 72 hours. So when you see that consistency, that gives us a great deal of confidence in that forecast. If you live in the Toledo metro, I would plan on at least 7 inches of snow, and frankly, it wouldn't surprise me if we do see some of those higher totals. Now, the best chance for those higher totals is generally going to be south and east of the Maumee River. Areas like Bowling Green over towards Fremont and Oak Harbor have the higher probability to see those heavier totals. Now, the sweet spot that I mentioned of this storm, that is going to impact north central Ohio. So I would say areas from Sandusky back towards Findlay, eastbound towards Tiffin and Norwalk, Fostoria, Upper Sandusky and Bucyrus. If you are a snow lover and you live in that area shaded in light pink, well, this is going to be a very memorable storm. Over 8 inches is likely, with isolated amounts up to about 1 foot. Now, what about north and west? Remember how I pointed out that Hillsdale and Lenawee counties only have a winter weather advisory? Well, don't let that fool you. Just because there's no winter storm warning, this is still going to be a very potent winter storm with 5 to 8 inches of accumulation. Up towards Monroe County, not quite as much as well, but we are confident that the Toledo metro, back towards Fulton County, southern Williams County, the city of Defiance, Napoleon. We got a viewer from Waterville. Waterville is going to be in that 7 to 10 inch range. We got a viewer from Sylvania. I know Sylvania is likely to see a little bit less snow than Perrysburg just because of the northwest to southeast location. So even within the metro, I would say areas closer to the Maumee River see a little more, and areas closer to Michigan see a little bit less. All right, I'm going to look at the YouTube comments. If you have any questions in particular about these snowfall amounts, about your community, I would love to answer those. But I'm just going to leave this up for a few minutes because I know those snowfall amounts are something that many folks are very interested in. And this is going to be our biggest snowstorm since early February of 2022. So we got a question about working in Toledo at 5:30 a.m. So by that point, Rebecca, there's likely to be about 1 to 2 inches of snow on the ground. So most of the snow is not going to fall until after you get into work. However, there could still be some troubles out on the roads. Please be safe. I'll be driving into work. All the WTOL 11 crews also driving in. So just give yourself plenty of extra time. So we got a question about the infamous word blizzard. So what's interesting about a blizzard is it's not necessarily defined on the amounts, but more so the visibility and the winds that come along with it. So in order for it to be considered a blizzard, you've got to have winds of 35 miles an hour and visibility less than 1/4 of a mile sustained for a 3-hour period. Now, thankfully, we are not going to have those winds that come along with a blizzard. So yes, it is a lot of snow, but it is not going to be a blizzard criteria. Let's see if we have any other questions. Williams County, Brenda. I know that is something that many folks in Williams County are wondering, including Brenda. It really depends what part of the county you live in. If you're closer to the Michigan-Ohio state line, you're going to be more in that 5 to 8 territory. But if you're closer to Defiance or Fulton counties, likely to be closer to the 7 to 10 inch amount. Got a question about Luna Pier, up towards Luna Pier. You're likely to see a little less than the metro, but Luna Pier is still well within that 5 to 8 inch range. So do plan on some significant snowfall amounts in Luna Pier. Good question in Fremont. How much snow will Fremont get by 7 a.m.? So you'll notice Fremont is kind of right on the fence of the 7 to 10 and the 8 to 12. However, most of that is going to fall after 7 a.m. I would say Fremont's only going to have 2 inches on the ground by 7 a.m. Hope that answers your question. I'm going to skim through a few more of your comments. We've had snow since around 6 in Fostoria. Bobby, I really appreciate that report. You know, areas south of Toledo seeing that snow just a little bit sooner, but in terms of meaningful heavy accumulations, that's not really going to get going until closer to midnight as well. How much snow will Wood County get? Julie, I see your comment there. Wood County solidly in that 7 to 10 inch range, and it's likely that Wood County sees a little more snow than Lucas County, just being a little further to the south. We got a question about the winds. How bad are the winds going to be? Well, I mentioned that a blizzard requires 35-mile-an-hour winds. We are not expecting that. Winds are going to be sustained at about 15 to 20, and they're going to be gusting up to about 25. So there is going to be some wind, and that could lead to a bit of blowing and drifting, but it's not going to be a major wind issue, and certainly not going to be hitting those blizzard criteria. So this is our snowfall map. I want to show you one computer model, both in terms of how much snow will fall tonight and how much storm total snowfall we're going to get. So the numbers that you're seeing right now, this is through Sunday morning. When you wake up, if you live in Toledo, you're likely only going to see about 2 inches of snow on the ground. Down towards Upper Sandusky, Findlay, and Ottawa, around 3 inches. All right, let's fast forward to the storm totals. The latest computer model data, as I pointed out, has trended up a little bit. The sweet spot of that storm could very well span from Huron County towards Seneca and Wyandotte counties, and those are some of the areas that have the best chance to pick up 1 foot of accumulation. So I know another question we've gotten is, what are the temperatures going to be like? So throughout the afternoon, I think the temperatures are going to be in the mid-teens, we'll say around 15. The wind chill is going to be near the 0-degree mark. So if you're thinking of taking the kids to your favorite sledding hill, maybe out snowboarding, it's not going to be as brutally cold as it has been the last couple days, although wind chills still going to be near 0. So my recommendation, keep the outdoor time a little bit more brief than usual. But thankfully, I don't think frostbite is going to be an imminent risk. Of course, cover up any exposed skin, make sure the hat, the gloves, the scarf, all those common sense tips. But when you get to this territory, frostbite is not going to be a major issue. So enjoy the snow, have fun with it, but just use sensible decisions. Overall, we'll call this a high impact level storm. Heavy snow Sunday, poor travel is likely, and stay home if possible. Make sure to give those crews plenty of time to plow and salt as well. So road conditions likely to be just fine for the remainder of the evening. Some folks to the south of Toledo have reported a little bit of snow, but the heavy snow really begins in earnest on Sunday, and snowy roads likely on Monday. Another question we've gotten, will the kids have school on Monday? And of course, even though we don't make those calls, I can tell you there's going to be plenty of lingering travel impacts. So I mentioned some of the Q&A questions. I do want to go over a few of those as well. Will it be safe for the kids to play outside in the snow and sled? Yes, but you want to take frequent indoor breaks. Wind chills are going to be around 0, and temperatures are going to be near 15 degrees. So not quite as brutally cold, but still enough that it is going to cause some cold issues. Will we see power outages? That's another question we've gotten. It's not going to be likely. Typically, power outages occur when you have that really heavy, wet, dense snow. This is going to be some light, fluffy, powdery stuff, and additionally, we're not expecting any icing. Ice is also a big culprit for power outages. Now, wind gusts up to 25 miles an hour are possible. However, the winds themselves not going to be strong enough to cause any issues for power outages. Will there be blowing and drifting? And the answer for folks in rural areas is yes. I am expecting gusts to around 25 miles an hour. Those will be possible Sunday into Monday. Now, winds are actually going to be shifting throughout the course of the system, and by Monday, winds will be blowing in from the west. So especially those roads that run perpendicular to the wind direction, so let's say those north-south roads, there could be some blowing and drifting on those roads. Will this be a blizzard? That's another question that I know many have wondered, and the answer is no. The definition of a blizzard actually does not have to do with the storm total, but more so the intensity and the wind that comes along with it. Blizzards have intense snowfall that reduces visibility below a quarter mile and causes 35-mile-an-hour winds. So we're not going to meet that blizzard criteria, but it's still going to be a decent amount of snow. Another question, will this be a packing snow? Well, good luck making a snowball or a snowman with this one. It is going to be very fine and powdery. This is going to be some good sledding snow, some good snowboarding snow. Maybe not the best for the kids building a snow fort, though, as we do have that very fine, powdery snow. So we're going to be wrapping up in just a couple minutes, but I do want to get back to that snowfall map. I'm going to skim over a few more of your comments on YouTube. And even if you're tuning in after the fact, I'd love to answer those questions. And of course, we're going to be live on air tonight at 11 on WTOL 11, and then tomorrow morning with meteorologist Davis Wells. So we're going to answer as many of those questions as possible. Thank you for tuning in. Sarah Hoppel, good to have you with us on this Saturday evening. Julie, you stay warm as well. I'm going to do my best. It's a little bit chilly, but we're thankful to have a nice warm television studio here. How much time should you spend outside? So frostbite is not really going to be an imminent risk. I would say keep it under about an hour. Earlier on in the week, we had wind chills that could produce frostbite in 30 minutes. It's not going to be a major issue with this one. So I'm going to leave you with the snowfall totals. You can join us tonight at 11 on air on WTOL 11, and we're going to continue to keep you updated throughout this alert day winter storm as snowfall moves in tonight and accumulates tomorrow.